Now let's take a look at some breaking news. An American visa ban on what it calls specific Nigerian individuals. In a statement released a short time ago, the US State Department announced visa restrictions on unnamed individuals that it accused of undermining the democratic process in recent elections. The measures target individual actors and is not directed at the Nigerian people or the current government, according to that State Department statement. Well, for more on this, let's turn to Arise politics editor and director of news, Sumner Sambo, who has more on that breaking story. Good to see you, Sumner. What more can you tell us about that?
Thank you, Charles. From the State Department's statement we're reading, they said that it was in the previous election, a very recent election. Of course, you know that last year we had elections in Ekiti State and Osun State, all in the southwest of the country. Now, by State Department's restrictions, they are not actually allowed to name the individuals. But of course, these sanctions will apply in terms of denying visas to the individuals in question, their family members, and of course, you know how the US operates. I mean, with its cousins and nephew countries like the UK,
will follow suit.
Yeah, I mean, they'll follow suit and all of that. And it's coming at the right time. This is preparatory to next month's general elections. We've seen similar things happening. I mean, after the 2019 elections, I mean, a lot of Nigerians were actually sanctioned. But in this instance, we don't know the individuals. But of course, you and I would have known that, for example, in the elections that took place in Osun State, there were allegations that a national secretary of the governing All Progressives Congress had intended in one way or the other to interfere with elections. There were also claims that the main opposition PDP members were also in one way or the other seen to be paying out monies, you know, just like the ruling party was also accused of giving out monies to buy votes here and there. Some religious leaders were also instigating violence through fiery statements here and there. I mean, it just goes back to what happened in 2019. I mean, don't forget one of the topmost governors of the northwestern states in the country was almost being sanctioned by these Western embassies for one of the statements that he had made, that if the 2019 general election was interfered with by foreign countries, especially the Western countries, that some people will go back to their countries in body bags. And
I remember
that statement was credited to Governor Nasir El-Rufai then, and El-Rufai was, I mean, hit hard both by the local and foreign press.
El-Rufai, of course, the governor of Kaduna State.
Yeah. Until he had to clarify what exactly he meant.
So what this tells us, as we still try to figure out who the people are, is that all eyes are on Nigeria's 2023 election, because already, if you go to the articles written sort of in the Council of Foreign Relations and all the rest of it, a lot of warnings of targeted sanctions if you have people undermining democracy by things like violence, corruption, vote buying, etc.
Yes, I mean, this is a welcome development. Unlike in 2019, where the governing All Progressives Congress was anxious because of some of the statements being made by some of the Western diplomats, which made it look like they were tilting towards the PDP, the main opposition, and its then presidential candidate, who still happens to be the same in this election, Atiku Abubakar. This time around, it's a level playing ground. The president is not contesting. There's a presidential candidate from his party, but nonetheless, the president, through the Electoral Act, has shown that it's not really tilting towards anybody. He wants the elections to be conducted free and fair. And from the rhetoric you've been hearing from the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, the U.K. High Commissioner to Nigeria, there seems to be a synergy that this election ought to be free and fair. And so the U.S. is not only targeting politicians, clerics who are making statements that are dividing the people, religious, traditional rulers, and other monarchs who are making statements that may actually instigate violence, and then some of the campaign spokespersons too, who are actually making very fiery statements that may actually lead to division. The U.S. is cautioning them through this, that look, you may lose your visas, and if you cause trouble in the country, there's nowhere you'll be escaping to. And now, this is the next thing that some of these accused persons usually do. when there are issues like this and the sanctions are about to come on them, they rush to Benin Republic or to Ghana to go and seek for more visas or something like that. But from this statement, you find out that the State Department is very clear. There's no room for any sabotage and any attempts by those outside government to sabotage the system. There's going to be repercussions, and they've clearly stated that this is not targeted at the Nigerian people and it's not targeted at the government. That means the government seems to be doing as the things that are supposed to be done. But going forward into the election, if the government decides to tamper with the outcome of the election, I can tell you that these sanctions will apply, because the government, the US government has stated it in 2019 very clearly that the Nigerian people have a right to choose whoever they want to elect.
Right.
And that if the government issues any illegal orders, the Nigerian people should disobey those illegal orders. Well, we haven't seen any for now.
Sumner, thank you very much indeed. And of course, this story will be running on a rise with more information coming through the day. Sumner Sambo is Arise politics editor and director of news.